So today we will talk about how in AWS two VPCs can talk to each other. For that, we will create two VPCs. We will avoid the default VPCs, and we'll give assign a CIDR to them, and the CIDR is going to be /16 for each one of them, 10.1 and 10.2, and then create subnets 10.11/24 and 10.10.2/24 in each VPC. After that, we'll spin up in EC2 instances in each, and they will be assigned automatically to the subnet that belongs to that VPC. And then we'll see how the two EC2s belonging to two different VPCs can talk to each other via the peer connection that we're going to create. So let's get busy. We will create a VPC. Let's call it VPC1. And the CIDR block for VPC1 is 10.1.0.0/16. Create. All right. We've got one VPC, create another one. VPC2, your CIDR block here is going to be 10.2.0.0/16. Create VPC. So you got two VPCs with the CIDR blocks. Let's go create the subnets in it. Let's create a subnet, and the subnet will be in VPC1, and subnet name is going to be VPC1 subnet, and no preference. It's going to be 10.1.1.0/24 is the subnet. Create subnet. Creates another subnet in VPC2. Call it VPC2 subnet. No preference here. It's going to be in 10.2.2/0/24. Each VPC, if you want two VPCs to talk to each other using the peer connection, you have to make sure the CIDR blocks and the subnets are different. Okay. You're done with your subnets. Let's go to your EC2. You say these are these two instances exist in the default VPC. We want to create EC2 in our new VPCs. Next, we'll say VPC1 subnet is good, and we will disable this, and we'll create the session manager for these. Everything else looks good. Subnet is good. Review and launch. Launch. I don't need the keys because I'm going to use the session manager for console. View instance. Here's my VPC1 instance. Launch another one. I'm going to create this one in VPC2. There's only one subnet there. You don't need public IPs because we're not SSH into it. We're not going to SSH into it. We're going to use session manager. Everything else looks good. I think we missed one part, which is going to be this guy. For IAM role policies, there's a video on that. View and launch. You have have to connect the previous EC2 instance with the IAM policy, Identity and Access Management Policy. This guy's running. Let's just rename him VPC1 EC2. And he doesn't have IAM role, so we're going to do modify IAM role. Let's use the one that we used in the last video. Rename this guy VPC 2 EC2 instance. Okay. Both are up and running. Now we need to access these. For them to be accessible through the session manager, which is this guy right here, we have a previous video where we have to create endpoints, modify security groups. So let's do that. And the endpoints are in VPC. Endpoints. Create endpoints. Service name is going to be SSM, simple session manager. One endpoint for the first one. And we have to figure out which subnet are we going into, so we need to make a note of that. So we will do that by going to the VPC subnets. Make a note of the ID. It's 2E. Subnet 2, that's a subnet 2 thing. And the other one is subnet 1 for VPC 1. Okay. I'm just going to keep the last 3 digits of the ID so that I don't have to keep this long name for reference. Endpoints. Create endpoints. Service name SSM. Here is, let's find out which subnet are we looking up for. For the first one is C84, C84. We have to select the right VPC. There you go. It's the only one available. Security group is this guy. 671. Security group is 671 for VPC1. We'll modify that for the TCP 443. Create. Okay, yeah, we forgot that. Let's go VPC1, you have to enable the DNS host names, enable save changes. Do the second one. That's listed and illustrated in the video with the session manager. Save changes. Okay, let's go do the endpoints. Create endpoints. service name SSM. Now this is, again, remember, this is just to access the EC2 through Web Console. You have to have two endpoints. Select the right VPC. Let's see. There you go. Create another endpoint. You have to have two endpoints for each VPC. So that's the second one. Select the right VPC. Create. So that's your two endpoints for VPC 1. And they are, let's make sure that the security group is permitting 443. Security group is 671. Inbound is all traffic. Outbound is all traffic. So in the inbound, we have to make sure that let's just go to endpoints first, because I lost track of which security group I'm looking at. First endpoint, security group 671. 671. Inbound, I need to add custom TCP 443. Let's just say all. This needs to be explicit, besides the fact that you have this all traffic in there. All right, we got the 671 for this guy. Endpoints. And this is also 671. All right, 671. We just did that. 671, both are attached to 671. Good. Endpoints coming up. Still pending. Takes some time. All right, still pending. Let's go check our EC2 to make sure they're up. So our two EC2s and VPCs are up. Make sure that this guy has the IAM role associated. Yep. Second one. Yep. All right, we're good. Now we would not be able to access the session through this session manager until the endpoints come up. And like I said in the last video, it could take sometimes up to 5 minutes. And now that they're available, we can try accessing, but you know, it does take some time. Connect, it's yet not available, so we'll skip that. Connect, not available yet. All right, so these are the two VPCs, EC2s and two VPCs, different VPCs. Let's make sure that we have 10.1.1.4, okay, and 10.2.2.62, okay, good enough. The only thing that we need now is for those endpoints to come up and be available. So let's try this one more time. Let's take some time, so we're gonna wait another few minutes. Okay, so after waiting approximately 5 minutes, we would connect this, and here you go. Your session comes up. If config, here's your IP. All right, let's see if I can get that second guy going. And for that, we're going to have to create endpoints in the second VPC. So let's go to endpoints and create endpoints in the second VPC. first one, select the VPC number 2, security group in this case is B1D. B1D. Let's make a note of that so that we need to make sure it permits TCP 443, create SSM endpoint, and then the second one we need to create service name SSM. Here's the second one, VPC2. Same group, B1D. Okay. Create. And these endpoints takes a good solid 5 minutes. And so therefore, we will wait 5 minutes. Go to EC2. These two endpoints just to make sure that the EC2 is associated with the security profile. It is. And once the endpoint comes up, we should be able to connect just like we are able to connect to VPC endpoint and this guy here. Okay, we'll wait a few minutes and then come back and connect to it. Okay, so after waiting almost 5 minutes, let's check the connection. It's good. So we connect to the second VPC EC2. And here it is. That's our first one with 10.1.1.4. This is our second one with 10. Oh, this one is 10.1.1.4, and this one is, we open the second, same one. Let's go and open the second one. Instances, VPC2, connect, still not connection. So let's try the workaround. And after 5 minutes, you just detach. And then you reattach. And this typically resolves. Yeah, I probably have to give another few minutes. Okay, let's try after doing some detach and attach and waiting some time. You already have a session open for VPC1 right here. Let's see if this guy connects again. The security is still the same one. Connect. There you go. So now we've got VPC1 right here. VPC1 EC2, and this guy is VPC2 EC2 10.2.2.62, 10.1.1.4. All right, so let's see if we can ping from here to 10.1.1.4. Ping yourself 10.2.2.62. You won't be able to because there's no peer connection. All right, and the other thing that you have to make sure is for ICMP to work is that you go to your instances and the security group that they're connected to is permitting ICMP. Let's do that. Add rule all IPv4 SNMP, ICMP, save. Let's go to the other guy. Security, edit, add rule, all ICMP from everywhere. All right, and it'll still not work because there's no, VPC does not by default allow VPC to VPC communication. If these two EC2s were in the same VPC, this would work, but right now they're in different VPCs. So what we need to do now is we need to go to a VPC console, and we're going to do this. We have completed this first step. It's done. This is done. Security groups, we got it. We put them with 443 subnets, we got it. And now we need to create this portion that's left. So this portion is left. Let's complete this portion here. And that is VPC Peering Connection. Peer connection right here, and so we're going to create a peering connection, original peering connection, create optional VPC1 peering to VPC2. Select the requester is VPC1. Select another VPC to peer with, VPC2, create. All right, and let's go to the request acceptor, and here's the connection, and then we have to we go to peering connection, and we select the peering connection that we created, and then we go to the action and we say accept it. Status is active now, it's accepted. There is a peering connection between the two, so this is going to be peering connection. That is done. Can we talk to each other? All right. And I am 10114. Can I talk to you? Nope. All right. So that one last step is going to be route tables. We need to tell the VPC routing table to go somewhere for this routing to happen, right? So let's go to VPC. Let's go to route tables. And so your VPC1 route table is this one, VPC1. Select that, route, edit routes, and you're going to say add route, and you're going to say for everything else, you know, essentially you're just going to tend to, but just say quad 0, and your target is VPC peering connection, and here's the one that we're looking for. Save changes. All right, did it work? No. Why? Because we have to do the same for the other VPC. So let's go to routing tables, select the VPC2, and routes, edit routes, add route. For everything, you go to a peering connection, which is this guy. Save changes. Are you working? Bingo. There you go. You are working. That is good. Both are working. So here's basically the scenarios that you gotta do, steps. You have to create 2 VPCs, and then you have to create the CIDRs, in each one of them, make note of those CIDR groups, security groups, subnet IDs, sorry, and then security groups IDs so that they are permitted ICMPs, and then you create subnets in that CIDR in each VPC, and then you spin up EC2s in each of those VPCs. They get associated with the respective subnets. And then for this EC2 to talk to this EC2, you'll have to create a VPC peer connection. And after that, you would have to make sure that the route tables are allowing the default routes to go to that peering connection right here. And that's basically is it. You are now talking to a different VPC. See that? Your IP is 10.2.262 and I'm pinging 10.1.1.4, which is the other guy. Make sure that you are allowing the ICMP for the EC2. So just make sure that I repeat that one more time on the EC2 part. Your EC2 security group needs to be able to allow ICMP. And once you do that, you are in business. Hope this helps.